how have this many people not seen the Deadpool 2 post-credit scene?
And what if that's how this Wolverine, he's fighting him there because he's pruned him so that we can still keep the Logan timeline. I like the cast.
I like it as well. It's now going to be the Baxter Building. We are going to end with them coming out of the Quantum Realm not long after, or like alongside the blip. Floyd Lawton is an assassin for hire known as Deadshot.
Is Game Pass. It's the best value in gaming, in my opinion. I think
they stole that idea from me. I'm just going to take this opportunity to shit on Bob Iger again.
Always.
Bob Iger is the guy. God, these characters are drawn the horniest way possible. And that is something I vividly remember from the original show.
Rogue.
Yes. Hello and welcome to episode 102 of Cutscene Combos. We have had a marvellous week over here. Marvellous week.
Absolutely marvellous.
Great. We've got so much good stuff to talk about, including our character profile on Deadshot. We've got a Deadpool and Wolverine trailer to talk about. We've got a Fantastic Four cast reveal, not another fan cast segment, an actual goddamn cast reveal.
Yeah. Not even a prediction.
We've got our first ever gaming monthly wrap up from CrumbsKeys.
Yep.
We've got our Nerd News Network, which includes even more marvellous news. What a time to be alive, Horizontal. How's your week been?
I mean, my week's been pretty good. I'm trying to remember what has happened since last week. Kind of got caught up on content stuff. After looking after the girlfriend who is now much better, so that's good. So yeah, just been kind of getting caught up on content stuff again and prepping ahead, and then been playing a lot of Helldivers 2 over the past couple of days, which you'll hear about later during the gaming section. But great game, lots of fun. Also just been watching a lot of anime over the last week, a lot of Gundam.
Absolute weeb.
Yeah, I've binged through like another Gundam series called Iron Blooded Orphans, which is very good. Would recommend.
I saw you tweeting about that, I think.
Yeah. And then I've got a watch list going at the moment, and yeah, I'm fully hooked in, and as soon as I have some spare money, I know I'm going to end up buying maybe a Gundam model as well. So yeah,
I hope you've not got bored of animated media though, because we've got a lot
of
animated media coming up in the next 2 months.
Never get bored of animated media. But how's your week been? How was your Sunday?
I fucking hate sports. So I have this thing, right? I'm a passionate guy. I think that comes across. I think I come across a passionate guy. For better or worse.
I think that's fair.
So as a result, when I love something, I get very into it. And as a result, sports, I adore them. They're great. But I also have these moments when my team isn't winning or shit's going wrong that I just hate sports in the most guttural, visceral way possible. I hate sports. And my team was in the Super on Sunday, and I was very nervous and very excited. Fun fact, it turns out it's a lot more fun to watch the Super Bowl with no skin in the game.
Yeah, can agree.
But we get there. I think the 49ers played very well. I think they should be very proud of themselves. While there were definitely some mistakes made, I think we were more screwed over by poor luck, i.e. a player blowing out their Achilles running onto the field, a ball accidentally clipping someone and giving Pat Mahomes a free touchdown, essentially, after we'd shut him out for basically an entire half of football. Shit happens. It sucks. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. You're all fucking nerds. But other than that, my week's not been too bad. What have I done? I've worked. The boys haven't been about for gaming this week, so I've been a little bit just on me Todd. Just existing. But there's been little tidbits, as we'll get into later in the Nerd News Network and other stuff,
Yep.
that have had me very excited. But yeah, should we get into our character profile this week?
I think we shall.
So this week we've got Deadshot. As always with our DC characters, just because it makes it so much easier for me, this is all post New 52.
Yes.
So post 2011. Floyd Lawton is an assassin for hire known as Deadshot. He was born into a traditional, albeit poor, nuclear family. However hard they worked to fight poverty, they couldn't escape it. Eventually, his father was able to land himself a job that would hopefully move them up the socio-economic ladder. However, tragedy struck when a gunfight broke out in the flat next door and bullets came flying through their tiny apartment, killing Floyd's parents and sister. This would put Floyd on a trajectory that led him to become one of the world's deadliest assassins. Or was he? Because in actual fact, that origin was a lie that Floyd stole as his own from his cellmate Will Evans. Lawton was in fact born into a wealthy family who lived on the outskirts of Gotham on their own estate. But Floyd's father, George, was a belligerent drunk who would beat Floyd, his brother Eddie, and their mother. Eddie was the only one who would protect Floyd from their father and occasionally from their mother's rage. Eventually, Floyd's mother had had enough of the abuse and convinced Floyd to shoot his father. Floyd climbed a tree to shoot his father, but his nervousness caused him to tense up as he fired, missing his father and instead shooting and killing his brother, leaving Floyd with no one. As a result of that, Floyd pledged to never again miss and to kill his father the next time he saw him. Floyd would go on to become one of the deadliest assassins in the world, competing with Deathstroke regularly for the title. Eventually, Amanda Waller would get her hands on him and enlist him to the Suicide Squad, where he would go on to become a regular team member of the lineup and leader amongst multiple iterations, all in the hopes of earning his freedom and writing his path so that he could be there for his daughters. I can't remember if this is the New 52 version of Floyd, but I believe it is. It's actually explicitly written he has OCD. And that was caused by what happened to his brother. It became a kind of perfectionist, obsessive, compulsive disorder to make sure he didn't miss because he was so scarred by shooting the wrong person. A couple of notable bits of his history during the New 52. During the War of Gotham in Batman's earlier days between the Riddler and Joker, he found himself on the Joker's side, which was where he would first encounter Deathstroke, as Deathstroke was on the Riddler's side. They were both targeted with killing Commissioner Gordon, but instead they ended up fighting each other, with like 60 plus civilians getting caught in the crossfire, and it was just not very good for anyone. Later on, he would be targeted with, or not targeted, he would be hired to kill Bruce Wayne.
Makes sense.
But instead of being paid, they had kidnapped his daughter and said, "We'll kill your daughter if you don't kill Bruce Wayne." To which Floyd reached out to Batman to say, "Can you help me save my daughter?" So between them, they successfully located the warehouse, cleared it out of bad guys to save Floyd's daughter. However, there was one additional person that was like hiding, and they jumped out and put a knife to her neck, and Floyd, through intuition, just shot him, despite promising Batman that no one would die. So as a result, he saved his daughter, but he went to prison. And that kind of began the cycle with him being in and out of prison. before he was grabbed by Amanda Waller. And his motivation for a lot of the New 52 was, I actually don't want to do this anymore. I want to get out. I want to get on the straight and narrow so that I can just be a father for my daughter.
Interesting.
I don't know too much about Deadshot in old canon. What I do know is this version of him is quite the well-rounded, well-put-together character that I think definitely adds a lot and is perfect for the Suicide Squad.
Yep. Very cool.
On to our marvelous week of Marvelness.
Yes, Marvel's helped to eat good this week.
Deadpool Wolverine trailer.
I mean, we knew it was coming.
We did. But do you remember how nervous I was about Deadpool? It hasn't quelled all of my nervousness.
Okay.
It has definitely eased it slightly. My one big takeaway.
Okay.
I made a point similar to this before. I think it was for Invincible. Yeah,
Right.
It must have been. Invincible Season 2 Part 1 trailer. I said, it feels like this trailer's just showing us, like, the first episode and making it seem like it's showing us more. I think this trailer has done the same thing. I don't think we've seen anything outside the first 30 minutes of this film.
I think there was clips from other moments, and there's a bit of a hint towards the general theme, but I don't think they've made it very obvious.
I think the majority of what we saw from that trailer is inside the first 30 minutes of the film.
I mean, it would make sense because Ryan Reynolds he's not going to want to do the usual thing that's happened a lot with Marvel trailers where they kind of just give it all away.
Yeah.
So we in the trailer. There's one thing that I think I saw you tweeting about, and like people have seemingly forgotten.
Oh, people are dumb as fuck.
Yeah, they're like, oh my god, how's Vanessa alive? Forgetting that at the end of Deadpool 2, he goes on a whole time traveling spree, and
do you know what I don't understand?
Fucks around with stuff.
For the last 15 years now, I've not been able to leave a cinema until all the credits are over in case there's a post-credit scene in whatever the fuck I'm watching.
Yep.
How have this many people not seen the Deadpool 2 post-credit scene?
Do you know what I think it is? Because, like, I'd remember him going back in time. I'd kind of forgot all the extra things he went and did. Because it's like, I remember him kind of undoing what happened. And then I went back and watched it just to refresh my mind. And I'm like, I think what's happened is because of how long ago it was, and it was like this whole, we didn't have Loki in the TVA and all this, like, it kind of was more so him memeing, going back in time and doing like things you would expect someone with time travel to do. And because it was such a jokey way of them doing it, no one like took it serious enough to like remember it, if that makes sense.
I get that, but still, I like the amount of people who are genuinely gobsmacked.
Yeah, I don't.
They're like, oh, this must be a Deadpool from a different universe because Vanessa's alive. It's like,
no, you're just forgetting the end of the film.
He went back and saved her, and then saved X-Force, and then shot the bad version of Deadpool from X-Men Origins.
And
Wolverine,
in that, if you remember, in that moment when he shoots him in X-Men Wolverines, he says, "You're gonna come to the end of your story, and everyone's gonna be really sad." Talking about Logan, and then he's like, "But maybe, like, I hope you might get a call from another Deadpool to come back, and please say yes." And this is before this is years ago, before like it was actually agreed that he was going to come back and do.
And like he
set the stones early.
Yeah, and like him shooting Ryan Reynolds with the Green Lantern script.
Like, that's what I think. I think because it's like funny stuff like that, it's not stuck in people's minds as much, maybe.
You know, my big issue for a long time now has been like people's inability to actually remember what they've watched, and like the revisionist history we see all the time.
Yeah.
No wonder these people are changing history. They can't even remember what did happen. They probably don't even realize they're changing history.
Yeah, no, that's.
I couldn't believe it.
TVA. They look the same but slightly different.
I think it's just a style choice.
So I think it's a style choice, but here's my question. Do you think it's pre-Loki or post-Loki?
I think it's post.
So do I. One reason being the fact that they knocked on his door. No, but I know that sounds funny. Yeah. But like in the whole of Loki, if they turned up somewhere, they just turned up and pruned it. Like they didn't ask questions.
Yeah.
Which
I don't know much about Mr. Paradox.
No, I don't.
Other than apparently he's a Mobius variant.
Okay.
So we'll see what that's about.
Now,
I'm nervous but excited.
So I have a theory, and I've seen like a couple of things of like maybe because obviously they show you TVA, you think he's getting punished for going back in time, and yeah. I actually think they're asking for his help because there's two reasons. Like in Loki, when the TVA arrested Loki and Sylvie, they go through a process. They're put into prison overalls. Anyone that's like processed that way is a prisoner for doing something wrong. He's not. He's just there in his clothes. Also, they like show him around the TVA, and then the thing of him saying, "I'm Marvel Jesus," makes me feel like they've asked him to do something. Then he's like, "Oh, you're giving me this power."
So I think broad strokes, my guess would be the Fox timeline was a fucking mess.
Yes.
We all know that.
Yes.
I think they are going to go, right, we've got Deadpool 3. That doesn't need to be tidy. So we will make that. Wade goes and tidies up that timeline. And he will so happen to tidy up that timeline in a way we can work with. It gets rid of a lot of the clunkiness of confusion. It still makes all of the old Fox films watchable.
Yep.
And then you just tidy it all up, and then you can either slot it in or whatever.
Yeah, I think
there's also, because we know from Multiverse of Madness that there is a fear of incursions coming. This might be our first level of incursion.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, like you say, the Fox's X-Men was messy. What if like they play it off as like the things they went back and changed and brought people the way that Fox handled the X-Men universe? What if what they're like Marvel's playing it off as like an incursion's happened and Deadpool goes in and has to clean it up?
Yeah, I think it's very possible you get stuff like that.
But I think it wouldn't surprise. Also, like something I'm thinking of now, because obviously the whole thing people fixate on is there's that desert thing, the Fox logo's in the background.
Yeah.
The other time we've seen like big structures kind of embedded in the ground in places like in a weird place they shouldn't be was in Loki when he went to the Void place. What if it's something similar?
I think the Void is going to end up being Battleworld.
Okay.
Which is where Secret Wars will take place.
Right.
So if someone gets pruned and sent to there, expect to see them again in Secret Wars.
Okay, that would make sense.
That is, I'm not saying I've come up that off my own back. That is a prevailing theory at the minute.
That could make sense though if it is like the Void. And what if that's how this Wolverine, he's fighting him there because he's pruned him so that we can still keep the Logan timeline.
Exactly.
Interesting.
There was also we saw the back of Wolverine in a white suit.
Yes.
So that's a character that I don't know too much about. He's called Patch. It is Wolverine, but they're called Patch. Oh. And I think that's more to do with the Krakoan era of the X-Men, which is when the X-Men all go and live in their own nation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's quite confusing. It's quite recent. I'm not as up to date on that stuff.
Right.
But basically, after a certain point, all mutants basically lived on a country together.
Okay.
And that was Krakoa.
Gotcha.
So if you're a mutant, you just had citizenship. You were Krakoan
Right.
citizen.
Got you.
And I believe the capital city of Krakoa is Madripoor.
Okay.
Now that name might be familiar to people because that was the city we went to in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, where we met Sharon and found out she's the power broker.
Oh.
So there is, and I might have butchered that. I might be completely wrong, and I might be confusing myself. Do not take that as gospel.
That's true.
But so some people think that X-Men, that Wolverine variant that we saw in the white coat, might not be Hugh Jackman. That might be the MCU's Logan.
Who could be a new cast that we've talked about
exactly.
a few times.
But it could also just be a cameo from someone like a Daniel Radcliffe who's been fan cast forever, because we know Marvel, as we've seen with
John
Krasinski, aren't against casting someone who's been fan cast forever to do a cameo.
Yeah, for like a one-off situation of them doing like a variant. Yeah, that's true.
Let me just Google Madripoor quickly.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some... There's going to be some variant situation.
Is associated with the X-Men. I haven't made that up.
Okay.
It might not be Krakoan, but it is associated with the X-Men. So that is worth noting.
Okay. Yeah,
and also
I'm very excited.
In She-Hulk, there was that news article talking about man with metal claws in bar fight.
Yes,
so
there was.
There has been teases potentially for a little while that Wolverine's cutting about. So that it'll be interesting to see what comes of that little.
Yeah. Okay.
Bit
potentially.
I think we're going to get a lot of cameos. I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think we're going to get a lot of like variant cameos. So they're going to have some like fun things that like they can use this person as the character, and then it's only a one-off, and we don't have to worry about them actually being the new character.
At the end of the day, I won't be surprised if this film ends up being a little bit like No Way Home. In the sense of sometimes there's no talking because they're literally waiting for the audience to stop clapping.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you've gone back and watched it, but if you go and watch No Way Home now, when Toby and Andrew walk in,
there's pause.
No talking for like 3 seconds because they knew the crowd was going to lose their fucking mind. So
I wouldn't be surprised.
Put it this way, this film isn't going to be the film that lets us defeat the keys jingling allegations. But a bit of fan service never hurt anyone. I think
there's going to be some fan service, and I wouldn't be surprised if, because of who Deadpool is and his whole fourth wall breaking, like it wouldn't surprise me if they're going to use this to essentially clean up all past Marvel stuff, so that they can use new stuff going, like some of that old stuff, to go forward, and be like, look, it all makes sense now. This is what is. All that's gone, and now we're here.
It could also get slightly inspired by Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, which was a mixed review comic where he goes around and kills loads of superheroes in very inventive ways.
Okay.
Such as using pin particles to shrink down bombs and put them in Luke Cage's coffee. Because you can't just stab Luke Cage.
Yeah. It would be kind of cool.
I think it would be okay for a 5-minute montage.
Yeah, just like him going to a few of these places and doing stuff like that.
Give him the role of tidying up a messy bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Give us a 5-minute montage of that. Then have it get into the actual meat and bones, which is Wolverine doesn't want to die, or oh wait, there's a bigger problem here. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's got potential.
But then we got some fantastic news on top of that.
We did. It wasn't announced at the Super Bowl like I kind of hoped it might be. But it was only a couple of days later.
We got a Fantastic Four cast, Tori.
We did. And it seems like it was always planned for Valentine's Day, going off the marketing material. So
that art is fire. And I've seen this discussed all over Twitter all day, and if I've seen it, it probably means our viewers have seen it, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. That art style, the new logo, the vibe is immaculate.
Yep.
Matt Shakeman is directing.
Okay.
He's also the director of WandaVision.
Makes sense.
I know the latter half of WandaVision we have issues with, but that was plot necessary stuff.
Yeah.
That Matt Shakeman would have had less control over.
Yep.
The early stuff with the vibey 40s,
of how it was
50s,
shot
60s,
and stuff. Yeah.
I see the vision. I like it.
Yeah, now I went back and I looked on our channel and it was like 2 years ago when it was at least a year and a half to 2 years since we discussed the rumor that Fantastic Four was going to be set in the 60s. Seems the rumor's true.
Did you see how quickly, by the way, people put that together as like
absolutely
the truth? So for those of you who aren't aware, obviously, like we said, there's been a rumor for ages it was going to be set in the 60s. Then this came out, and the vibe, the way they're dressed, screams 60s anyway.
Yeah.
It just does. But the Thing is reading a magazine.
Yeah.
And people have looked at that magazine and gone, that is a Time magazine. They've then taken, because it is a hand-drawn image.
Yeah.
They've looked at it, they've gone, what Time magazine is that? And they found out it is December 1963 Time magazine.
Oh, really?
Yes. They found the exact cover that was used in that picture.
Oh, wow. I know that also...
on top of that, Pedro Pascal
I was going to say
shared the image on his Instagram story with a song from 1963.
It was a Beatles
song, I believe.
Yeah, it was like a hashtag of Beatles.
If we get a Beatles soundtrack for the Fantastic
mixed
Four,
in there. So we've
got Herbie, their little robot dude.
Oh, I was going to ask you about that because I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not massive on the Fantastic Four. I appreciate them for how important they are to Marvel. They are not something I've read a lot on, although I am debating buying the
We should also
run.
Run through the cast for those that don't know, but we
absolutely should. You're right. We should stop getting so ahead of ourselves.
Pedro Pascal is Reed Richards, which has been kind of the news for a while now, and this is officially confirmed. You've got Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Joseph Quinn is Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna mess up his last name, but
I was hoping you'd be the one to get it right.
I don't. I've watched it, but I don't know. I haven't heard people say what his last name, but Eben Moss Baccarat is going to be playing Ben Grimm, also known as The Thing.
Yeah.
I like the cast.
I like it as well. When I heard about Pedro Pascal months ago, I was in. I'm telling you right now, with the age he is at, we are getting a Franklin Richards sooner rather than later, which means we are getting Pedro Pascal in his iconic daddy with a special child role.
Oh my God, we are. That's 3 things.
Yes.
Do you reckon that's on his, like, you know, when you're role cast?
Yeses.
Well, you know, when people typecast, do you reckon he's now getting typecast as dad with kid?
Yeah, absolutely. Vanessa Kirby, I haven't seen much of her stuff other than, for better or worse, Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, and she's in
use that
one of the Mission Impossibles. Yeah,
2 of them, I believe.
2 possibly. Yeah.
But she looks the part. She's done a lot of stuff. She's a professional.
Mm-hmm.
If we could say anything about Marvel, they have always done a good job of casting.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Joseph Quinn is the one that a lot of people are less sure about on the timeline. I think a fair bit of that seems to be stemming from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about that. He's not as... This is going to sound so crazy coming from this face. He's not as traditionally handsome as some people imagine Johnny Storm to be. I don't see the issue.
I've looking at pictures and you think about, like, this is going to be set 60s. He could very easily pull off that, like, 60s
high school
style
vibe.
Yeah. And I think he'll fit really well. I also am super hyped for Eben Moss.
Yeah. So the concern people have about him is that he played a role in The Punisher.
What did he play in The Punisher?
He played, I forget the character's name. He played like the tech guy, big bushy beard. I have 2 counterpoints to that.
It wasn't like a.
But forgetting even that, we've had people play multiple characters in the MCU already.
Yeah.
Also, there is scientific evidence that everyone on planet Earth has 9 people who look basically identical to them.
Yeah.
And third, I actually have 3 points. After this film, he's just going to be a voice actor.
Yeah.
The face doesn't matter.
Also, let's be realistic here. We don't know if this is set in the same MCU timeline. There is a possibility that this could be an alternate timeline.
So, should we get on to some theories? Because I have been cooking up some theories.
Okay. Well, I was going to bring up what we discussed like a year and a half ago with the mention of the 60s. Your theory back then, and let's see if it still aligns with what your theory is now.
Bear in mind, I view this theory as brand new in my head, so if I've accidentally come up with the same theory, I'm going to laugh.
Your theory was, because this was before Ant-Man had come out.
Yeah.
So your theory was that it starts in the 60s, them getting lost in space or whatever is them then end up in the quantum realm. They get lost in the quantum realm. That's why they've not been around for ages. You had the theory that, well, one of the people in Ant-Man Quantumania was going to be Reed Richards.
Yeah.
But it was like, and then maybe that's how they get spit out into the modern day.
Yeah.
Was the general theory you would run through and I kind of agreed with back then.
So I think we're cooking in a similar direction.
Okay.
I think the Fantastic Four have been working as S.H.I.E.L.D. agents.
Okay.
In the 60s.
Yeah. Can see that.
That's why Ben Grimm is there as like this pilot, very trustworthy, blah, 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 blah. You've got the Storms, and then you've got Reed Richards, who's this brilliant mind.
Mm-hmm.
He is working alongside Howard Stark and Hank Pym. They get sent on this mission, which was traditionally the space exploration mission, but it's going to be a mission to the quantum realm.
Okay.
This is how they find out that you can't risk going subatomic. Which
Okay.
is, of course, how Janet got lost in the 80s.
Yeah, because they knew not to do that.
Yeah, and then they get stuck down there.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, for whatever reason, you can even, if you want to, blame it on, because we know the quantum realm could be used for time travel, you could even blame it on Loki tidying up the TVA and allowing the multiverse to happen. They get spit back out. I am telling you right fucking now. Stark Tower, Avengers Tower, which we know has been bought, is the Baxter building. And I will tell you why.
Over Kingpin.
Yes, absolutely. It doesn't belong to the Kingpin. We'd already know that.
Okay.
Avengers Tower was designed the way it was in the MCU because of a lack of the Baxter building.
Mm-hmm.
So Avengers Tower being this thing where these awesome things land and it's in the middle of the city and everyone knows it's where the superheroes live. Yeah. That's the Fantastic Four's entire thing.
Yeah.
They literally just made Avengers Tower that work that way because they were like, no, but that was a really cool thing the Fantastic Four
We need a superhero tower.
We need that.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
It's now going to be the Baxter building. We are going to end with them coming out of the quantum realm not long after, or like alongside the blip.
That would make sense. Because we know it was around then when it sold, right?
Exactly. The blip or sometime after that is when they've come back out. And that is going to be the post-credit scene of Fantastic Four, at least one of them. I wholeheartedly believe that. I hope, although it will probably result in people having bad opinions of the film, I hope we don't get that much action in the film. I hope it's more like a sci-fi thriller. I want to see these character relationships form. The Fantastic Four cannot go anywhere anytime soon. I need them to just make us fall in love with these characters. We've had too many bad iterations. I I know people want the fan casting to be over. It's not over. So, Herbie, the little robot dude.
Yeah.
So, he is associated with the Fantastic Four. I don't know too much about him. All I know is he looks fucking awesome.
I imagine he's their version somewhat of Iron Man's... why name's blanked? Tony Stark's AI.
Put it this way, he's existed since '78. He's a big part of the Fantastic Four lore.
I imagine he's their like AI helper, essentially.
Yeah, he's a funny little dude. People are very, very Fantastic Four comic fans are so excited for him.
Okay.
As a result, I'm excited because I love a little robot dude.
Yeah, I mean,
there are some people already claiming this is going to be the next generation's R2D2. That would be very lit.
That is a bold claim, though.
What I have seen on Twitter, again, and this is coming from someone who doesn't know much about Herbie, but I love the idea. I see the vision. They get Seth MacFarlane to voice Herbie.
Oh my god.
And then the end scene of the Fantastic Four film, which clearly based on the poster is going to be focused on their relationships, especially Sue and Reed's, is them dancing to 60s music being sung by Seth MacFarlane. He's got the voice for it. He does. The comedy would be beautiful because he's so inspired by like 80s comedy, so it would seem like new comedy to them and really old comedy to us, which is a really interesting dichotomy.
You know that's going to make this like a weird thing where people are like, going to be like, because he's going to have like a Ted/Stewie twang because it's Seth MacFarlane's voice.
MacFarlane can do a lot of voices.
He can, but he has like something that he always ends up leaning towards, whether he intends to or not.
That's one fan cast I've seen for him that I like. There is another one on the flip side I've seen that I do not want, and if that happens, I will be very upset. John Mulaney. I do not need John Mulaney to be cast as any more sidekick comic relief characters.
Yeah.
I'm over it. But I'm so excited for this film. You know I've been excited for this forever.
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about it for a year and a half.
Yeah. The first family is not far off. And to make it even better, it's coming out 2 weeks after Superman Legacy.
Same month.
We are going to cook in 2025. July 2025 has the potential to be one of the greatest ever superhero months. A Superman Legacy, which looks like it could be an all-timer with the kind of cast and vibe they're going for. I don't know how long I've been saying this. Maybe I haven't said that much on the podcast. I want gay, campy superheroes back. Superheroes are so inherently camp. I want it bright, brash, and colourful. Fantastic Four and Superman Legacy could hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, they could. I honestly, like, what is going to kick off the DCU and potentially could be like, holy shit, we're in for a good time with the DCU if like it is as good as we're expecting. And then you could have, oh shit, we're into the next stage of the MCU, like with the Fantastic Four are back. We've already probably by this point, depending how Deadpool goes, we've had some X-Men introduction and tease. It's like, oh shit, we're getting the big boys back. Yeah, we could be in good for that month.
Oh, 1 second.
Oh?
Herbie. Would you like to know what Herbie stands for?
Go on.
Highly engineered robot built for interdimensional exploration. What if they build him when they get lost in the quantum realm?
And that's how they get out.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
Anyway,
what,
I also think...
What? You know the fucking... In Quantumania, the goo that lets you speak in any language, those weird creatures. What if one of them is like embodied into the AI
I also have another theory, which I think is less likely, but I think also makes more sense if they do it right.
Okay.
An early battle that the Fantastic Four had to fight was going back in time to fight Ramatut, which for the eagle-eyed amongst you will know was a variant of Kang we saw in Quantumania.
Ooh.
What if that's who they're fighting?
Oh, what? Yeah, what if they fight a Kang and that actually leads to the Council of Kangs because they're like, oh shit, we need to actually.
They get
up.
trapped in the, or they fall through the quantum realm, end up in ancient Egypt where they fight Ramatut.
And
You've
then
also got to remember that Kang is Nathaniel Richards, a descendant of Reed Richards. Like,
yeah,
the Fantastic Four are so deeply entwined with Kang.
You could be on something because, like, what if they do that? Them going through the quantum realm is what gives them their powers. They then are like have the fight. They figure out their powers. Trying to get back is when they get lost and stuck in the quantum realm. Then with their powers and whatnot, and they create Herbie and get out.
I won't be surprised if a Kang variant, if they go that way, helps them out of the quantum realm, because Kang is a descendant of them, and therefore they need to procreate for him to exist.
Oh, that's a good point. Ooh, we could be on something here.
Maybe a Kang turns up and like fucks with the equipment to get them lost in the quantum realm.
Possibly.
To ensure they get the powers to create this situation. Because we know he's got fail safes to make sure he ends up back in charge of the TVA. Maybe this is like another one. There's many options. I'm just very curious to see how we get them to the modern
I think
era.
Going with the themes of the MCU now, it's got to include the Quantum Realm. That's got to be how they get their powers. And then, other than that, it's either they're going to get trapped or they come out into a different time zone. Yeah, there's going to be some weird time travel shit going on for sure.
And them being set in the 60s, although it might make it a bit techy, does make sense. The Fantastic Four was written around that time and therefore inherently influenced by that time. Also, it's going to be messy bringing the Fantastic Four in now. So why not introduce them in the perfect way and then worry about the rest later anyway?
Yeah, and it also gives them kind of an excuse to why it was hidden and...
Yeah. And also, it allows us to do the right wing's favourite thing that they accuse us of doing and throw loads of propaganda at them because they're from the 60s. They can all be hippies, bro. Peace, love, and pixie dust, motherfucker. It's going to be great. The only thing I'm slightly concerned about, and this is just because I haven't seen him do it, I believe he can do it. Pedro Pascal has a penchant for playing attractive, charismatic dummies. I have not seen anything that can convince me he can play someone I'm supposed to believe is the most intelligent man in the world.
True, but...
Just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean he can't do it. But that's the only concern I have. But I'm also never going to write out Pedro Pascal because I believe that man can do anything.
I just love the meme that I saw with the Eben Moss thing. It's like, bro finished cooking up some beef sandwiches and now became the thing.
Do you know what? I'm really stuck with this because if I don't hear it's clobbering time, I am going to give it a 0 out of 5 stars. I don't know if I want it to be a thing he was saying before he was the thing. Like an idea of like a parallel of, you know, like Bucky saving Steve in First Avenger when he's tiny behind the thing. I don't know if I want it to be a parallel of like him protecting Reed and saying it's clobbering time, or if I want it to be like once he's the thing and it just accidentally slips out once and then it's just kind of like, hey. But if they for some reason decide they can't have his iconic catchphrase because it doesn't fit tonally, I'm gonna kick Kevin Feige in the dick and balls.
I think they'll fit it in there. I think they might do something where it's like in the 60s when he is Ben Grimm, he's like, says something in the realm of like, you're going the right way to get clobbered. So then when he is the thing, he like rewords that into his iconic catchphrase.
What I'm not enjoying is the revisionist history around the previous Fantastic Four films. They're trying to act like the original ones are like the perfect casting ever. Like they didn't hire Jessica Alba, make her wear loads of makeup to look whiter, make her wear blue contact lenses and make her dye her hair blonde.
Yeah.
Like they didn't make Galactus a cloud.
Yeah.
Like they made some bad decisions. They made Victor Von Doom essentially Norman Osborn.
Yeah. Which also weird.
One thing, and I don't know if this is accurate to the comics, that I particularly loved, and I hope it is accurate to the comics and we get it again, was Ben and Johnny's relationship in the original Fantastic films, because they had kind of this siblingy, brothery back and forth, where you know they love each other, but at the same time you also genuinely believe they might kill each other.
Yeah, I reckon they could find that. Going off how Eben Moss is in The Bear and the banter they have between cousins, there's definitely some like they'll be aggressive to each other, but at the end of the day, their cousin, like he's like, I love you to his cousin. So I think there is that, he can hit that vibe for sure.
But I am very excited. I think I said last week or the week before, we need to see the whole cast before we can decide if it's a good cast. I think this cast fits.
Agreed.
And I'm excited to see what they cook up. Moving on from that, though, we have got some of our own exciting news. Being added to the cast of Cutscene Convos is Josh, aka CrumbsKeys, here to give us our first of many gaming monthly updates. Welcome, 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 Josh.
Thank you very much for having me. Looking forward to covering all video game news and reviews for each month. Obviously, we're in February at the minute, so we're a little bit behind. Got a few catching up to do, and then going forward, like I say, going over everything each month, what people should be playing, what people maybe shouldn't be playing. Con, we'll get to you at some point.
I was going to say, this is just an excuse to wind Con off about his video game choices.
This is just going to be another segment where I get angry at stuff. Because, you know, we don't have enough of them.
Right, I'm kicking things off with a round robin. It's something I like to ask everyone.
Go on.
What is your favourite game of all time?
Of all time?
Oh, right.
Yep, you can only pick one.
Oh, no.
Off the dome, what comes to you straight away?
My brother in Christ, I've played so
What comes to me straight away? Halo 3.
Okay, see, that's the thing. You got to pick what comes to you straight away. Because deep down in your subconscious, that is your favourite.
The original Lego Star Wars.
That's a solid shout. I respect it.
That might just be the first video game I really remember playing. Like that might be why it came to me first.
Arguably, it's a good shout. Mine, recency bias, might play a little part, but God of War Ragnarok is just the goat. The goat.
Yeah, you can't beat Halo 3.
Yeah,
then.
Unfortunately, Josh is a bit of a Sony fanboy.
Well, we do one thing you know about me, and it will come up each month in conversation. I do not condone console wars.
No,
console wars are dead. What you're on about? It's all over.
I have switched alliances many a times. I now own both. I sit on the fence. Both have pros and cons, so no arguments, please.
There's no console war. It's PC Master Race only.
Or just have all three, mate. And just live the best.
Yeah,
of both worlds.
All I'm missing at the minute is a Nintendo Switch, and then I can play, I believe, anything in the entire world.
So I'm on all ecosystems at the minute. I play PC and Game Pass on the PC, PlayStation, and a Switch. So any game that comes out, I'm ready. Absolutely ready.
Right. What did we miss in January, Josh?
So January was actually quite a good month for releases. December was fairly quiet. Obviously, we had the Game Awards, but no actual. Obviously, Avatar came out early December, I want to say. But apart from that, there wasn't much else. Scoring wise and notable games for January, we had Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which scored an 86 on Metacritic. Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth from the Yakuza series, which got an 89 on Metacritic. And Tekken 8 came out 90 rated on Metacritic. So as you can see, there are some bangers coming out. I'm assuming you haven't played any of those free games, both of you.
No.
I was looking at Prince of Persia because one of my early games I remember, I want to say from the original Xbox, was Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
Sands
or
of
something.
Time.
I had that on
The
PSP.
classic. Yeah.
And I adored that game. That game was so much fun. I enjoyed like the time rewinding kind of playfulness of that. So when I saw that there was a new Prince of Persia game, I was like, I might have to keep an eye on that and see if it's worth copying.
So this one's a little bit different to the original Sands of Time. This one's actually a 2D sort of open world / action platformer / Metroidvania, but it's a beautiful art style, and it's actually the game I recommend you play out of those three. It's a mixture of sort of fast-paced combat / parkour because of all the platforming elements and stuff like that. So it's very different to what you would have played Prince of Persia Wires in the past. I don't actually know if you've seen any footage of it or anything.
I don't think I have actually.
I saw it was a 2D side scroll, and that was about it.
Yeah, it was I think it was shown at a couple of showcases. I'm not 100% sure which, possibly a Sony one from last year. But it's available on all platforms. How Long to Beat says it's a 16-hour story, 30 hours if you're going for the completionist.
Awesome.
And I think it's about 35, 40 quid. So for a 30-hour game, it's not too bad. Available on all platforms. It's one I definitely recommend.
Awesome.
And I have missed it off my nose, but I do want to throw out a shout out to Power World, which took over gaming.
It really did.
January. Obviously, us lot have been playing it quite a bit. We've got our own server up and running. And despite all the possible legal problems, that game has been an absolute blast. I'm sure you'll both agree.
Yeah, no, it's
no legal issues. What are you about? It's a
fair,
completely new design for a game.
Nintendo being as litigious as they are, the fact that they haven't officially filed anything yet, I think, is a sign that they're probably struggling to find good grounds, especially bearing in mind that the company that made Power World are also based in Japan, which makes it so much easier.
They would have, if they were going to file anything, they would have done it while it was still in development. Plus, because it's IP law, they'd have to do it on each individual PAL design. And the only thing I think they've done anything about is like, I don't know if you two saw the teaser of the Pokemon mod for it.
Yes, that
got shut down.
That guy got an instant email saying, "Do not make this into a thing."
So, but that's my point. The speed at which that happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, if they really had strong grounds, I feel like we would have already heard
something.
Oh
yeah, they would have done.
I feel like Xbox putting it out on Game Pass, like they would have looked into all the legalities before.
Yeah.
And they would have been confident. Otherwise, no chance it would have ended up on Xbox platforms.
Exactly. It's exactly that.
But yeah, moving on to Feb. It's quite a busy month this month. Notable games. God, we will be coming to you in a moment because Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has got a 59 on Metacritic. Absolutely measly. Helldivers 2 came out for PC and PS5 on the 8th of February, which has got a 83 on Metacritic. Yesterday, as we're recording this, Tomb Raider Remastered 1 through 3, if you played those back in the day. Shout out to you. That got us sitting on a 78 currently on Metacritic. Skull and Bones, which I can't believe is actually going to come out, is supposedly...
Bones, is that not the one that got announced like unironically 10 years ago?
Has been cancelled about 52 times.
It's been stuck in development hell and was meant to be essentially the best bits of Assassin's Creed Black Flag that everyone loved.
Yeah, I think the last thing I remembered hearing about this was it had been cancelled.
It should have just got shelved.
It's supposedly coming out tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see.
Did you know though?
Very small history of stuff that goes through that much trouble ending well.
Yeah, but according to Ubisoft, it's a quadruple A game.
A quadruple A.
Yeah.
This is Ubisoft, mate.
That was their
A for agony.
That's the reasoning for why it costs 70 quid.
Which is frustrating because Ubisoft
that's no joke.
have made Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which I was recommending earlier. So they can put out good games. I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fanboy. But this one I probably won't be playing myself. This one's keep an eye out in the news. And finally, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out on the leap year, 29th of Feb. That's just going to be a critical banger. That is going to get low 90s, mid 90s on Metacritic, I'd imagine. Obviously,
never played the Final Fantasy games.
Obviously, it's confusing. There's
I just feel like
we're up to 16 at the minute.
Yeah, it's this huge genre that seems to get a million re-releases, and there's so many individual games. And I'm just like, I have never actually met anyone who loves the Final Fantasy series.
I have. It's people usually have like specific ones they like.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII/remake is generally the most loved one.
Is Final Fantasy 13 a really popular one as well?
Yeah, it's something like 11
or 14 is an online game. I think it might be 14.
Oh, okay.
I think 11 was quite a popular one.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like specific ones people like.
I just don't understand how you can have this many games that have final in the title.
FF. I'm not good with Roman numerals either, so I'm absolutely chalked. But yeah, that is likely going to do numbers, so keep an eye out for that one. But there's only one person here who has actually played the 59 scoring game on Metacritic, which is Suicide Squad. Con, do you want to give us a quick breakdown on your experience with Suicide Squad?
So what I will say is Suicide Squad, before I even got it, I had a very mixed relationship with. Because obviously it's coming out of Rocksteady, it's set in the Arkhamverse. You're instantly expecting the Batman Arkham style of games. And then they announced it wasn't like that. And I was like, I'm not sure. And then they're like, oh, it's a live service looter shooter game. And I'm like, oh, I really don't know. And at that point, I'd like put it down. I was like, there's no way I'm going to ever touch that. That doesn't sound good at all. But then I started to see actual gameplay of it. And it is not a world-beating game. I'm not going to lie and say it is. But for what it is, like, as a looter shooter, you get to do cool stuff with characters. The guarantee of a year of new stuff being added at least. I love it. It's great. It's a lot of fun. On a scale of 0 to 100, I'd probably have it sitting anywhere from like 60 to 70 is where I'd have it. So I don't think like we're outrageously low here.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I think the traversal mechanics for each of the characters are quite unique. A lot of fun. I think the opportunity they have with adding more Justice League members as bigger boss fights and adding new villains with unique play styles are huge. But it's a very particular style of like repetitive grind game, and if you don't like them styles of games, you're not going to like it. I enjoy it about as much as I enjoyed the Division 2.
Okay, Division 2's reviewed fairly well. It's not got the biggest fan base, but
I do think the big issue that we're having is IGN have got a grudge against this game. And even though a lot of people like ourselves know that IGN can't always be trusted, they are, I would say, the largest face in the gaming world.
For sure.
So for IGN to just be putting out slam piece after slam piece because they've got a personal grudge, I think has really hurt this game's reputation. Unfairly.
While you're discussing that, I am actually going to check what IGN gave it. I'm pretty sure.
They gave it
I mean,
3.
There's a few people I watch that like I trust their opinions, and their biggest gripe was more just the end of the game and how the story ended out. And then it's like,
but
it felt like it was a bit lacking to what, like the story wasn't closed out because they wanted it to be a live service game.
I accept that to a point. Counterpoint, the character interactions and raw story up until that end point where they do have to make it a live service game is better than the Spider-Man 2 story.
I mean,
as a pure storytelling perspective.
I think hearing people say that, it's just like this whole obsession that studios have with live service games needs to chill out.
My only issue,
Sony, please listen.
My only issue with it as a live service game is there is no option for playing offline.
Yeah.
Right, so that was one of the issues.
Completely solo by myself. No one else I know is playing it, and you know me, I don't play with randoms online.
Yeah.
I would like to be able to play in an offline server by myself. That's my only real issue.
Yep. So that was one of the main issues that Kind of Funny pointed out. So, Hori, I don't know if you've seen when you're playing online, once you sort of finish a mission, it comes up with all 4 characters and your names and gives you a breakdown of who done best and stuff like that. It does the same even when you're playing on your own. So it sort of like breaks up the fluidity, and I think that was a major gripe of a lot of people because obviously at the end of the chapter you'll just get stats for yourself, which isn't really needed. I've just looked, IGN have given it a 5. I think the only thing, like you say, it has got going for it is the roadmap that's been put out. Obviously, there will be new characters, new story beats. It's just how many people are going to stick with it.
It didn't need to be in the Arkhamverse, and it didn't need to be a 100% always online game. I think you change them two things. I think this game does a lot better, and they are very fair gripes to have.
Yep, fair enough. I think it's one that I'm going to be missing out personally. Hori, I'm pretty convinced that you won't be touching it.
I won't be touching it. I'm now locked into Helldivers. It's so good.
Yep, I've been watching a lot of Kind of Funny playing it in various outlets, and I haven't played Helldivers 1, but Helldivers 2 actually looks really good.
It's actually like completely different play mechanics to Helldivers 1. Same concept, but like this is now a third person. You drop in.
Viewers, and this probably means I'm going to be forced to buy this game.
I would say it's worth the money.
What is it? How much is it?
34.
Yeah, I want to say about 34, 35 quid.
In the modern gaming world, is it bad that I don't even view that as a lot of money?
Exactly. And I would also say, speaking of live service games, this game's doing it in a way that I actually think is a good live service system. So it's like you squad up to 4 of you, you drop onto planets and you do the missions. But actually, as a whole player base for the game, you are all collectively pushing towards certain, so there's 2 factions you're fighting. You can see the entire player base's progress in pushing these factions back. So it's like all players can be like, oh, we're all gonna you've seen it on Twitter and TikTok. People are like, go fight bugs. We're gonna push the bugs back. And then today the devs have been like, oh, here's an event. The robot faction are now like super aggressive, and you need to go focus on them. And they're doing like live service events.
So also what I'm seeing is I've searched it on Steam and it's saying similar to games you've played, Suicide Squad.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing. You just heard. I like it.
Know how that works, but
it's
a lot of fun.
Person, live action.
Yeah, possibly.
Third person, just run around shooting shit.
But yeah, it is a good game. I definitely recommend.
I'm telling you right now that if I buy this game, play it, and I genuinely think it's very similar to Suicide Squad, after you guys have just been sucking this game off and giving Suicide Squad shit, your opinions mean nothing.
I've not played it. Me and my friend
I will die on this hill.
We have a spreadsheet where we predict all the Metacritic scores for games throughout the year. I predicted an 81. This one, it's got an 80, currently sitting on an 83. So it's better than expected. No IGN score out yet, so God knows what they're going to give it. But
who cares?
Yeah, fair enough. Right, moving on. Topic of the pod. I'm sure both of you would have heard this one.
Yes.
Audience, I'm not 100% sure. Disney have invested 1.5 billion into Epic Games, and I quote from Andrew Webster from The Verge. Disney and Fortnite maker Epic Games are teaming up to build what's been described as an expansive and open games entertainment universe. As part of the announcement, Disney revealed that it is investing 1.5 billion equity in Epic. End quote. So, where do we even start with that?
Christ alive. Can we just... I'm just going to take this opportunity to shit on Bob Iger again.
Always.
Bob Iger is the guy who shut down the LucasArts gaming subsection and all of that stuff that Disney had that were pumping out bangers because he didn't see the value in making games, and now he's gone and spent 1.5 billion to buy into Epic. Because the gaming industry is huge. This guy's a dumb motherfucker. How is he the CEO of this company?
Controversial to I actually think he shut down Lucas because they were doing this.
They shut down Lucasfilm years ago, though, didn't they?
It wasn't all that long ago. But think how long they've been involved with Fortnite through partnerships. Yeah. This has definitely been something that is in the works for a long time, or talks. Wouldn't surprise me.
It seems like they want the money for video games without making video games.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's what it seems like.
What do you reckon this is actually going to bring? What games, or is it going to be stuff inside of Fortnite? What do you reckon it's going to be?
My prediction is they're essentially going to build like Disneyland and Universal. They're like what they have as the parks with like Star Wars Galaxy and all the different areas. They're essentially going to build that in Fortnite, but it'll be like little fun gaming experiences you can do in each of their like brands.
Sort of like similar to the Lego collaboration.
Yes.
What was that, December?
Yeah, and also I think what you're going to end up getting is a lot of the Marvel-related games that are already planned, and the Star Wars games that are already planned. If you buy them on Epic's platform, you're going to get freebies in Rocket League and Fortnite and stuff to go alongside that to make it a better financial proposition to buy them already planned games on Epic's platform.
Yeah, there's going to be some tie-in with like games that they bring
Absolutely.
out.
Yeah,
I do
100%.
think we'll get a couple of games that Epic makes specifically, but whether that is just Epic working very closely with a separate studio or Epic themselves making the game, I don't know.
I'd imagine Epic would outsource it. Maybe I think the money maker is going to be in Fortnite, like
absolutely.
Corey, you say. I think there are going to be worlds within Fortnite, microtransactions. That's where the money
pod
is.
Racing. Give me a new. It's too many years. Give me a pod racing game.
Well, they've already got the base with their racing game.
With the racing game within, yeah.
You could add.
Give me pod racers.
A Marvel level straight into that.
So I did read from an article. I can't remember who. That everything sort of moving forward will be in Unreal Engine. So they've got the basis of the stuff that you're wanting, Harry. Are they going to do it? Is the question.
Yeah.
We got to see how they'll capitalize on that. Any final remarks on the huge 1.5 million
it's just
injection?
So much money, isn't it? Bearing in mind, Bob Iger's thrown this money at Epic after claiming that writers shouldn't have a house.
I will say Epic should reinvest that in maybe protecting their staff, but you know.
Yeah. If I see loads more layoffs from Epic, I'm going to lose my fucking mind.
I think layoffs anywhere. I think we could have a whole episode on the amount of people who've been let off, unfortunately, within the last 2 years in the gaming industry. We'll try and keep the morale high for now. Right, discussion of the pod to round out February's gaming segment. And that is, will Xbox exclusives branch out to different consoles? As we speak right now, there is an Xbox podcast that started at 8 o'clock. Phil Spencer and co are talking about the future of Xbox. We've already seen a couple of the stuff that will come out. There are 4 games being confirmed to be mixing onto different consoles. What are your boys' thoughts on that?
I think we're going to get the second tier of Xbox exclusives branch out. So you're not going to see stuff like Halo or the Indiana Jones game or stuff like that go further. But I think that second grouping, which is like your Hi-Fi Rush and stuff like that, which is a little bit smaller in size of fan base on the Xbox platform, so they might need that extra boost. I could see them giving that out to Nintendo and potentially PlayStation. Xbox has spoken in the past, they've tried to strike a deal up with Nintendo to bring Game Pass to Nintendo. I think the bigger concern for a lot of people is if you can get all of the Xbox exclusive on PlayStation, does that then mean Xbox back out of the hardware market and leave PlayStation the opportunity to charge £2,000 for a console when you don't have an alternative?
Well, that's why everyone panicked, didn't they, when they first were talking about this? Everyone's like, oh my God, Xbox is going to stop making Xbox. And it's like, I don't think they will.
No, I don't think they will, but I do feel like they will. I think they are. I think everything Xbox will eventually be streaming. Obviously, you can do it on Samsung TVs. Their main selling point is Game Pass. It's the best value in gaming, in my opinion. I think
they stole that idea from me in an Xbox in an Xbox party chat 10 years ago. I literally described Game Pass before they even announced it.
Okay, well, if you reach out to Phil Spencer, mate, see what we can get done in compensation.
Have that recording somewhere.
I mean, there's been a few times where like PlayStation have been like coming to PlayStation trying to make like their exclusive and Xbox, but yet they're also over here, by the way. Like Xbox has been quite, at least over the last few years, has been very much less about trying to have a console war and been more like gamers should be able to play their games anywhere they want.
Right. Just going back to that hardware comment, I've just seen a tweet that's come out based on this podcast. Xbox President Sarah Bond teases the next generation Xbox will be the largest technical leap ever. Mentions new hardware options in the Series X, S line coming out this fall, potentially a handheld console. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. We're also invested in the next generation roadmap. What we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you'll ever have seen in the hardware generation.
What if they tried to take a page out of like Steam Deck and Switch. So like you have like a combo thing.
Yeah, Xbox have made no secret they want to make gaming accessible everywhere, but they also want to cater to all of their gamers, and there are a lot of gamers who will never ever need to be able to game on the go. What they want is they want a little box they whack on their desk, they plug it into a 4K monitor, and they play the newest games at 60 FPS 4K without having to worry about anything. And I don't think they're going to stop catering to them. I think they're just going to give more options to other gamers, like we saw with the Series S, having less storage but hyper mobile for cloud-based gaming and stuff like that.
Well, the more options, the better, realistically. And I
Yeah.
think that is Xbox's. That's just what they want. They want to get the games out to as many people as possible. I can quote Shinobi on X, who has just said that Diablo 4 will be coming to Game Pass at the end of March, and Starfield and Indiana Jones will not be part of the games. So, Xbox fans, even though we don't condone console wars here, you have got stuff to look forward to and gatekeep. Don't worry, don't stress.
I don't think that's going to be forever. I genuinely think there comes a time when like Halo and everything is just, they're like, it's day one Game Pass, but it's on everything eventually.
Yeah, I can definitely see a point where they get to where Game Pass is so large. They're like, it will be day one on Game Pass and on Xbox, and then 6 months down the line we'll open it up to platforms.
Well, it's sort of similar to what Sony are doing now. Obviously, say 6 months to a year after a Sony first party release, they do come out on Steam. Obviously, we've got God of War, Horizon, the Spider-Man games.
Yeah.
Somehow, Ghost of Tsushima is somehow not on Steam yet. That's
I'm
beyond me.
waiting for
But
that.
Exactly, it is just a waiting game with Sony. You never know how quick they're gonna come out.
My biggest issue with Sony is their lack of backwards compatibility, and we just get so many remasters from them, from like really recent games.
Yep.
What I would like to see, although it isn't necessarily the best thing, is I'd like to see Xbox use their position of power they have now that they own the rights to COD, to just put a bit of pressure on Sony to play a bit nicer. And if they can use the power they have with COD, and hopefully by building a relationship with Nintendo, that might be enough to just kind of get a little bit of movement. Because of course they'll have their own selfish motivations for why they want that, like having massive Sony games on Xbox platforms within a year, within 2 years. But I do think it's better for gamers if they can just buy whatever console they want and play every game they want to play.
Got a big one. Do you think we'd ever see Game Pass on PlayStation, as in
No.
Xbox Game Pass on PlayStation?
Game Pass will be the one thing that is only ever on an Xbox platform or PC.
Yeah, because you got PlayStation Plus or whatever.
Yep.
Right, it's just, there might be some deal for games that were going to be exclusive to Game Pass. They then have like also on PlayStation Plus or something.
You might see crossover in some of the games available, but I think they will just kind of come to an agreement that we're not going to sell our subscription on your platform, and you're not going to destroy us in other ways.
Yeah, it's pretty valid. I have both subscriptions, PlayStation and Xbox, and I can, even though I am leaning towards the Sony side, the Game Pass is much, much better, and I don't think it's remotely close.
It's so clear. Game Pass is phenomenal.
So yeah, we'll have to see what else comes out of that podcast. I don't know how long it is, but I'd assume it is still going on. So in next month, we'll have to do a quick roundup of that. Any final closing points on the Xbox news?
Thank you very much, Josh, for keeping us up to date and apprised of all things gaming.
Yes.
Make sure you go follow Josh on all of his socials. They will be down in the description down below. And we'll see you next month, Josh.
Sounds good to me. I would like to give a final shout out. Greg Miller and Stella Chung are hosting the DICE Awards tonight on the night we are recording, which is Thursday the 15th. You two probably checked out the Game Awards back in December. There was a rather alarming lack of acknowledgement and celebration of the devs, but I'm 90% sure the DICE Awards tonight are going to be much more celebratory of those. So that's always good news, which we'd love to see.
Yep. Awesome. Love to see it. Right. Should we get on to some nerdy news, Horizontal?
I think we should.
Back to some more Marvel good news. X-Men 97 trailer.
Yes, been in the works for a while now.
I'm so ready. I've seen this trailer. We've got the release date, which is March 20th.
Yep.
And I'm like, right, it is now time to sit down and rewatch all of the old X-Men cartoons just so that I'm ready.
Well, you're definitely going to have to, because it's leading straight on.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the other thing. If you haven't seen it or haven't seen it in a while and want to be up to date when it comes out, now is the perfect time to. It's 5 seasons. They're 20-minute episodes. Very easy to get through in the next month or a month and a bit. And it's definitely worth doing. I'm just so excited. It looks so good. It's close enough to the original style that it feels like the same show.
Yeah.
But just brought up to modern a little bit. It's gone from 2D to 3D. It looks good.
Yeah, it has the same visual vibe, just like a more modern, like polishing pass on it.
I'm gonna get out ahead of it.
Okay.
Any motherfucker tries to call this show woke, I'm gonna slap them in the face. For 3 reasons. The exact same vibe the original had.
Yeah.
2, woke is a bullshit term that you probably can't even define. 3, the X-Men are the gayest motherfuckers to ever exist.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone complains, it's like, were you complaining about the original show? No.
The X-Men are the minority.
Mm.
Like, they are literally designed so that every minority of any can feel a sense of attachment to the X-Men.
Yeah.
That's why the X-Men were one of Marvel's best-selling properties for so years.
Yeah.
Because anyone who's into comics who felt excluded or left out by the rest of the world,
yeah, they hit everyone in one show.
Yes, that was the beauty of the X-Men. The X-Men were outcast from society. They're made to feel like shit for just being who they were and what they couldn't control.
Mm-hmm.
It's not been turned into some woke propaganda. That was how they were always supposed to be. If you are an outcast for something you can't control, you're an X-Man.
I look forward to those people that try to say it's woke and the whole internet just shuts them down.
Also, and I don't normally make comments like this because I don't think it's very often necessary.
Okay.
To talk about the visual appeal of characters.
Okay.
God, these characters are drawn the horniest way possible. and that is something I vividly remember from the original show.
Rogue.
Yes. No, that's the thing. Everyone remembers a character from that show that just made them go, I don't want to play with toys anymore, apart from maybe that toy.
Everyone was like, I'm suddenly really into X-Men.
Yeah. Rogue for a lot of teenage boys was a realization. Rogue for a lot of teenage girls was a realization.
True.
I'm excited to see Cyclops get his flowers again because he's been treated like a punching bag for a number of years. My girl Jubilee, I adore Jubilee. She's fucking awesome. Seeing Jubilee back was awesome. Seeing Gambit again, fucking awesome. Hairy chest Wolverine Beast. I forgot how much of a, and I don't use this word lightly, slut Magneto looks like in the old show with his long hair.
Yeah, he looks so different from what people have come to remember.
Even when I think back to that show, even though it's a cartoon, I still think of Ian McKellen's face at this point.
Well, yeah, it's just been so long.
Yeah. I can't wait. I love it so much. It's so perfect. But the big other thing that comes along with this is the revelation of the new Marvel animation branding.
Yeah.
So now we've got the MCU, we've got Marvel Spotlight, and now we've got Marvel Animation.
Yep.
And unfortunately, the first thing I have to do about this is burst a lot of people's balloons.
Okay.
People have seen this Marvel Animation branding and they got very excited. Rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
But they've instantly assumed it means we're getting an OG version of Spider-Man continuation, or maybe a spectacular Spider-Man continuation. Ladies and gentlemen, we know Spider-Man freshman year is around the corner.
Yeah.
Marvel have never, will never, ever have 2 Spider-Man cartoons airing at the same time. No. Even if one comes out at the beginning of the year and one comes out in the middle of the year. Doesn't matter. No. It's not happening. They cancelled Spectacular Spider-Man to make The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, they
It's
were.
like a rule they have.
Yeah.
It's not like they have to ask Sony for permission, because in cartoon form they own the full rights to Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
They just won't do it.
No.
It sucks.
It does, but like the good side of that is we are getting a Spider-Man 1 soon. This is clearly them setting it all up now with like that's also going to be under the Marvel Animation branding and all that.
The good news is there were a number of cartoons around the same time as Spider-Man and X-Men, including an Iron Man, a Fantastic Four, that were set in the same universe that have tiny little crossovers.
Okay.
They could come back.
I could see I think a Fantastic Four maybe not, because we're only just going to get the MCU version.
But you could argue that's to
yes,
pump up the excitement a little bit.
I think more likely they'd be like, let's do an Iron Man one. RDJ, do you want to come back as a voice actor? Yeah. Everyone loves you. Everyone really wants you back as Iron Man.
But also forgetting that, they could just go, yeah, we've got X-Men 97 because there was a story we wanted to tell. They could start their own new animated universe. They could do what DC did for years and just take actual comic book runs, famous comic book runs, and just adapt them into films, TV shows for animation.
That's very true.
I think they have seen the success of the Spider-Verse films, and they've gone, hold on a gosh darn minute.
We need Spider-Man.
we can do some stuff here. We have got the talent, we've got the money. There is obviously the desire for this.
I think also like the first What If was a success, and they were like, okay, we can do new animated stuff on top of like you say Spider-Verse and that. It's like, okay, we need to kind of get ahead and do our own thing here.
There is absolutely some animation desire out there. I know animation doesn't sell as well, but what I will say is I know for a fact that Jenna's mother and my father thought cartoons were for kids, and they gave What If a chance, and I was like, you're missing out on a lot of good animation, and they liked What If.
Get them into anime and that'll completely change their perspective.
So I think now might be their best time ever for like relaunching animated stuff.
Yeah, I think also like as much as I joke though about anime has become a lot bigger and a lot more popular than it used to be. Like they understand now there is an adult audience for animated stuff. Like and people will watch it.
Also, I forgot there was a Daredevil cartoon that got canned. Give us Daredevil back.
That's also.
And also, once again, going back to what we discussed a couple of weeks ago about Star Wars What If, and I wanted Marvel Visions.
Yes.
Make it happen. I want it. Give me Marvel Visions.
They could, because they could
see anime style Daredevil, and then claymation. I know what would be awesome in claymation. X-Men or Fantastic Four in claymation would be fucking lit. Just give me anything.
You could do Fantastic Four in claymation, because like stretching and
like it works.
Yeah.
Like I need it. I need it so badly. Speaking on What If though, What If season 3 is rumored to apparently include some X-Men characters, and this is broken after the reveal of X-Men 97.
That wouldn't surprise me.
We put it this way: we are now officially with Deadpool 3 bringing the X-Men into the MCU.
Yes.
They might not be used in a live-action MCU project for another few years, but they're going to be there. They're going to be in an MCU project.
Yeah, if anything, we're at least going to have had the Wolverine, like an MCU Wolverine revealed of who is potentially going to play him.
We're going to have X-Men 97, which will be the first X-Men project 100% done by Disney since they got the rights back.
Yep.
We are now at the point where X-Men characters are available for pitches.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now we're getting at the point where What If creators get to go, can I have Cyclops? Can I have Beast? Can I have Storm? Give me What If of Black Panther and Storm getting married. because we're not going to get it in the MCU, but we can get it in fucking What If. I need it. I want it. I deserve
Well, yeah,
it.
there's a lot of potential there of like what they could do with it, for sure.
I have not been this excited, and I think it's coming across despite how ill I am, about the future of comic book media for a while this week, and just getting to see stuff that looks like it's being influenced more by creative people than money people has got me so excited, man.
Yeah.
Shit like this week is why we do this.
Oh yeah.
Like, so beyond excited. That X-Men 97 trailer, the Fantastic Four reveal, the Deadpool 3 trailer, like, this is why we do it. I'm so excited. Yes, 2024 is going to have its down bits compared to other years just because of the shithousery of the last few years.
Yeah.
We've got stuff. We'll get through that. It's not a problem. 2025, I genuinely believe, probably naively, that we're going to turn up for 52 episodes in 2025 with massive smiles on our face because of what we've just seen and what we're about to go see. It's going to be fucking great.
There's very high potential that 2025 is like
such
a great year.
Yeah. Even more good news. We got our trailer for Invincible Part 2.
We did.
Does it suck we've had to wait this long? Absolutely.
Yes.
Do I give a fuck when that episode comes out and I'm going to watch it? No, the fuck I do not. I cannot wait.
No, I think as soon as we're back into it, it's like, okay, cool, we're back.
Yeah.
The trailer looks very good. I'm intrigued to see where we go, because obviously we left with Mark was left on the planet.
Yeah.
Going off the trailer, there's clips of him helping them rebuild.
Yeah, it looks like they nurse him back to health.
Yeah, he obviously gets back to Earth. Earth's dealing with its own issues. The Martian weird little bug things are trying to invade Earth.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be a storyline. Obviously, we've got the, I forget his name now, but the time traveling guy.
Yeah. Dimension hopping guy.
Yeah, he's obviously going to be hopping around.
Yeah.
What else is revealed in the trailer? Oh, we get like one clip of Omni-Man in prison, essentially.
Yeah.
Being questioned.
Viltrumite prison.
Yeah.
We got Mark with a cape, which I've seen what that's about, and holy shit, that's crazy.
Oh, okay.
Because as I've said, I've not read all the comics. I've made the decision, even though I want all the comics, to wait until we've seen the show, or at least a fair bit of the show.
Yeah.
And people who've read all the comics are like, okay, now we're getting into the real shit, and it's not going to slow down from here. So
okay, I like this one a lot.
I've seen what the Mark with a cape means. That's wild. I had no idea that happens. We've got some shit coming in this second half of this series, and it's gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah, it feels like like I said, because I only just watched the trailer before, but I feel like there's a lot of things are shown. There's a lot of story beats that seem to be shown in this trailer for half of the season, and I'm like, I feel like this is going to be like a lot's going to go down.
Yeah. And I also mean, like, Amazon are historically very good at not giving too much away in their TV show trailers.
It doesn't give too much away, but it teases enough that, like, oh my god, seems like there's a lot going to happen here.
It's definitely going to be a busy one. Like, we've got a lot of stuff coming up. I mean, what's it?
Yeah.
We've only got like a week until Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Then we've got X-Men 97 starts March 20th.
Yeah.
Invincible comes out the 14th of March.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of stuff. I feel like, have we actually covered anything new yet this year? Don't think so.
No, we just had. Other than like Percy Jackson kind of fell into.
Oh yeah, Percy Jackson's last couple of episodes.
Other than that, no.
We're going to be covering Madam Web next week, which I'm actually excited to see, despite it having terrible reviews. I think it has fallen into the so bad it's good category by the sounds of it, which I'm actually quite excited for. And now it just feels like we're just getting hit by everything. There's just so much animated stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's all animated as well.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Even more good news. I can't contain the good news. Midnight Suns movie is apparently in the works. with the Werewolf by Night director Michael Giacchino apparently the favourite to direct.
This was something we discussed like way back at the start of the podcast.
Yeah.
Back when Blade had been announced.
Yeah.
We'd obviously had Black Knight in Eternals.
Yeah.
And you were like, there's a possibility here that they maybe are trying to. We knew, obviously, we were like hoping Daredevil was going to be coming back.
Yeah. And with that, we get the Punisher. You got Doctor Strange already. Then you get the Werewolf by Night project.
There was a lot of things pointing towards
Ghost Rider back.
There was a lot of things potentially pointing to like, oh, maybe they're going to set up a Midnight Suns thing. And it now seemingly is confirmed.
Yeah,
it's for sure happening as a film.
I'm so excited. I think this is going to be one where I want them, and I know I've said this for like 2 years straight now. I want them to have some creative fun with this, like they let him do with Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, if they pick the Werewolf by Night's director, like I think that would be smart, give him the creative freedom they did for Werewolf by Night, and you could have a lot of fun with this for sure.
The way I want Marvel to operate is Kevin Feige does what Kevin Feige does, making sure they hit the stuff they need to hit, and that it all lines up nicely, and like almost like an auditor, which I know plays down his importance, but you know what I mean. And then get directors you trust, and say to them, "We have awesome comic book characters. Tell awesome comic book stories with awesome comic book visuals. There is no need for us to not, like, let's be completely clear. We cover silly, goofy shit. We are getting excited right now.
Yeah.
In this podcast about a man with metal claws, a man who shoots. Cyclops doesn't even shoot lasers from his eyes. His eyes are portals to a dimension of pure energy. That's how ridiculous this shit is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you've got the Thing, which is a Bronx spaceman who turned into a lump of rock, and his mate Johnny Storm, who turns into a human ball of fire.
Yeah.
Why are we trying to take ourselves so seriously? Have some fucking fun. Make it exciting.
Do you think that this is only now being confirmed because they've finally got Blade back on a straight and narrow in a direction they're happy with? And they're like,
I think it's one of two things. I think it's and more hopefully they've got Blade sorted and they know where they want to go with it.
Yeah.
Or B, they are completely fucking lost with Blade and they need something to take Blade's spot that can still have Blade be in it so that they have more time to work out the shit show that is this Blade solo film.
I think they figured out Blade. Because the last we'd heard, they were like in a better place with it. I think they've figured it out. They figured out how to tie the Eternals end thing in. Then we've obviously got Moon Knight, which I think was one thing we talked about potentially could be in Midnight Suns.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's always been this talk of vampires and stuff. It's like, I think this is them going, okay, we're going to end up with a bunch of characters here that we've kind of set up to group up, but we don't really have a use for them that often in the actual MCU main canon timeline. What if we do a fun little like team up thing where we finally pay out all this talk of vampires and stuff?
This is Marvel Spotlight written all over it.
It is.
And Midnight Suns being like the first Marvel Spotlight film
could be good.
Could work.
Yeah.
And I've still not got to it because we've ended up having so many busy weeks. A lot of people might think Spider-Man 4 is going to be Marvel Spotlight. It should be. It won't be. Chris Nolan.
Yes.
Now, I will be honest. Last week, I was a little bit upset with Chris Nolan because he said he enjoys the Fast and Furious films.
Yeah, he said his guilty.
No,
pleasure.
he said it's not a guilty pleasure. He's not guilty about it at all.
Oh,
he just likes them. I've always said just enjoy what you enjoy. And I do genuinely believe that. I don't enjoy the Fast and Furious films, and as we've already established, I'm a passionate guy, and therefore I passionately don't like them. That's not the whole truth. I love the early ones. I dislike the later ones.
Everything after 5 went downhill.
Yeah, exactly. So it made me really upset that Chris Nolan was giving them an out. Just because I feel like they get let away with a bit too much shit anyway. He's redeemed himself, though, in my eyes. Chris Nolan has once again angered film bros, which I love so much, by the way. Chris Nolan, which is like the shining beacon of film bro Twitter, just
it's almost like he
does
knows.
not like them.
Yeah.
Honestly, bearing in mind we know that he doesn't really use the internet, so he probably doesn't know. The notion that you've got all these film bros who hang on every word he says, and he's just like, I fucking love when Dominic Toretto catches cars. It's fucking sick. Anyway, he said, I haven't read the direct quote, but it's something along the lines of, God bless Marvel, they saved cinema during COVID.
Yeah, it's something like along the lines of, thank God for the MCU, they kept cinema alive through
They
COVID
kept cinema alive, they proved that you could make money during the pandemic, and it saved cinema, potentially.
Yeah.
And to be fair, we said it at the time, I think the most impressive thing Marvel's ever done is No Way Home make as much money as it did during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi, and I've seen some insider reports about it, like Hollywood Insider, more recently, talking about how when Shang-Chi did what it did during the pandemic, that was a call to action to all other studios that you could still make money in the pandemic.
Yeah, I think like their willingness to like figure it out on how to still make these films and get them out was impressive.
And I also want to give a lot of credit to Tom Cruise during the pandemic as well. I know there was that one audio of him on set that leaked with him berating everyone because they weren't following the rules, which got a bit memeified, but he was completely right. He didn't need to work during the pandemic. He's got enough money to never have to work again. He was making sure these people were here so they could get jobs, and if people didn't take the rules seriously, people were going to lose their jobs, their livelihoods, maybe even their lives. So I think it's very good of Chris Nolan to point out how important comic book movies and these big franchises were for keeping cinema afloat during the pandemic. And that is it from us. That's it. A weirdly positive Nerd News Network. I don't know. Maybe I'm meant to avoid the negative.
I think Marvel's just like kind of blessed us this week.
Yeah. So there are apparently some reports that Marvel are going to drop another bombshell on us tomorrow, Friday.
What?
I don't know. I don't know if this is people just going, they've done something every day this week, so maybe we're going to get more.
Maybe. I'm trying to think what else.
Keep your eyes peeled for that, folks. If you haven't already, follow us on Twitter at Cutscene Convos. Follow us on TikTok at Cutscene Convos. Follow us on Instagram at Cutscene Convos. If anything exciting breaks tomorrow, it will be up there. And of course, we will then discuss it in more depth next week. As always, like and subscribe. Thank you for hanging out with us this week.
Let us know how you like the gaming segment, the first of many to come.
Exactly.
Over the coming months. But yeah, if you haven't already, follow us all. Everything's down in the description. And make sure you're subscribed. We'll see you next week.
Catch you next week.